How's it going, YouTube? It's your boy Top. So next, coming at you with a deck profile today. So today I'm going to be bringing you Purrely. This is a deck that I've been working on both at my IRL locals and in remote duel locals over at the side deck. Big shout out to the side deck, by the way, for still hosting remote duel locals. I think that's really cool of them, and more people should participate, mostly because I want remote duels to still be a thing personally. But yeah, let's get right into the deck profile. I'll explain some cards in the deck, but some of them are pretty self-explanatory. So to get right into it, we got 3 Purrely and 3 Purrely. So one of the things you're going to find out right away is that we're basically maxing out on basically all the Purrely cards that we can, because there's no reason not to. In the way that the current meta is, you basically have to try to see as many of them as possible, and this is the best way to do so. For the memories, it is pretty simple to max out on them, because 2 of them are hit to 2, and they are some of the better ones to have, except for Pretty. Pretty is probably like my favorite. In order of my favorites, it's probably Delicious, then Pretty, because of how it is, but basically all of them but Sleepy are the best right now. Sleepy genuinely shouldn't be at 2, but you know, as it is how it is. These cards do so much that people don't really understand, so I guess let's give them a quick rundown real quick. So Happy Memory lets you protect the card on the field, non-targeting, and then every memory has the effect to discard to summon one of these 2 boys. And then as material, it gives your Exceed monsters a bonus attack for each one of these equipped. The Pretty Memory is similar, so this gives both players 1,000 life points, then lets you do the discard summon effect. It also has an effect that when it's attached as material, you can send one other card on your side of the field to the graveyard as material. You can send one other card on your side of the field to the graveyard as cost to target a card your opponent controls, and if it resolves, absorb it as Exceed material. So this is how they get to steal your cards, basically. Purrely Delicious Memory is similar in some respects, but others not, because it is to protect a monster on the field from battle during that turn, and then it has the effect to discard and summon, like them all. And then for each one equipped, that's plus 300 attack and defense for each material. So if you have 2 of these equipped to a single monster, they're getting 600 for each material, including this card itself. So typically the 5-mat Noir, if it's made with 2 Delicious Memory, will always be gaining at least 3,000, which is pretty big in the current meta. And then the last memory that we have is the Sleepy Memory. The Sleepy Memory is probably the least important right now in the current meta, mostly just because it's not a 3, and you don't really care to go for Noir that often. But realistically, it is still important to the overall deck in how it functions. So it is, with Pretty Memory, the only other memory that does not need another card on the field to activate. So this turns the first damage that you would take during the turn to 0, whether it be battle or effect damage, and then also it lets you discard summon. But then when this is equipped to equipped as an Exceed material to a monster, this card lets you draw 1 card during your opponent's standby phase for each card. So basically, and the effects all stack. So if I have 3 of this memory equipped to a monster, I can use this effect 3 times. It's pretty good. I love these. I love the memory cards. I love how the Purrely cards work. They give different effects to the monsters, so you can have a monster with a ton of effects. But it's pretty simple. Like once you see it in action, it just sounds really complicated. So to finish up the deck list here, we have the Triple My Friend Purrely. This is your search card. You pay 500 to pick 3 memory cards. You get to add it to your hand. Pretty simple. It's your search card. This is the card that you always get rolled on. This is the thing that Malice always tries to hit with their non-target banish. Pretty good. Straight Purrely Street is makes it so your special summon Purrelys cannot be targeted during the turn they're summoned, which is really good. That includes the Exceed monsters. And then also this lets you when during your end phases during any end phase you can equip a memory card to your Purrely Exceed monsters. So it helps you add to the setup, and then they both have an effect for when a Purrely Exceed monster leaves the field due to an opponent's card. This lets you target up to 3 memories in the graveyard and add them back to your hand. This one lets you special summon a Purrely monster from your deck or graveyard. So tons of recursion in this deck, and basically because of how fast we can get to these, because we play 3 of each, we're basically guaranteed to have these pre-nib almost in a lot of hands. So if they Nibiru you, you just get to restart your turn, basically. like with the memories intact. And then the last Purrely cards that we have are 2 Eep. A lot of people like to cut this to 1. I'm not a fan of that. I think 2 is perfect, and I think 2 is necessary for the grind game and the current way the meta is. Eep is super good, and it's you can set it off of Noir. So if you ever have to make the bad cat, you can do that. For the side engine that we have that we play 1 Snow on Light of Dark World. We play 3 Brow, Archer Dark World, or Huntsman Dark World, and we play 1 Shaddoll Beast. These are all cards that either add or draw you cards based on when they're discarded, or since they're card effects. This triggers off the Sylvan Princess Sprite, which we'll see later in the extra deck. But overall, that's the side engine that we have. It was better a little bit during the Mitsurugi format because you were triggering your stuff via their effects that way. So you were being able to get the bonuses, but realistically, it's just there to go even, and it's pretty good to have, and they're pretty good side out targets when you know your opponent's going to rush like Abyss Dweller, or if you know your opponent's playing Malice and playing Shifter, they're easy side outs. And then the last 2 monsters we play are Nibiru. I've been testing Nibiru in the main as like the only hand trap to play, because realistically I don't want to get them Mulch Armies, and I don't think they're very great. I've seen too many Purrely players play the Mulch Armies and then lose to like a single Ash because the rest of their hand is unplayable. You need as many cards in your hand as possible, and Nib being discard fodder if you're going first is pretty good, and if you use it as a way to help stabilize the board so you're able to play the game, it's pretty good. So helps you avoid on negates and things like that as well, as long as you can hit the boards correctly. And then the last cards are all power spells for the most part, so we can kind of breeze through them. 3 Dark Ruler No More is standard. 2 Book of Eclipse is pretty standard in the current meta because of Raziel. I think it's okay at 2 in this deck. I put it at 2 because I was trying to cut the deck count from 42 to 40. Ended up settling for 41 with 1 cut of Book of Eclipse. You could cut another card in the deck that comes in a little later, but realistically, I think that this is fine. And then you have the 1 Call by the Grave and 2 Triple Tactics as like your big power spells. And then the last 2 cards in the deck, your 40th and 41st cards, are Harpy Spiderduster and Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is super good in this deck, mostly because you have the ability to link 1 in the Anima and just be able to revive your Purrely monster and get the other 3 mills. Likewise, just being able to reborn Purrely for any reason if it leaves the field is solid for this. And then Harpy Spiderduster is just there for hitting back row decks, and stuff like Malice is just pretty good into it. Like if your Malice opponent goes first and you duster their whole back row, they're usually down to like only a few of their cards anyway. So for the for the extra deck, it's pretty standard, and it's actually pretty quick to go through the extra deck here. So we have the double happiness, we have double beauty, double plump, 1 noir, and then 2 big noir. So this is super standard when it comes to Purrely extra decks. I don't think you can cut anything except for maybe 1 beauty, but even then I don't like cutting beauty because then I always need it afterwards. But that is pretty much why the extra deck is always so tight. Likewise, Sylvan Princess Sprite and Zeus are mandatory in the deck. Princess Sprite is the one that lets you detach its cost to excavate the top part of your deck. Spider Trap goes to your hand, monster goes to graveyard. It lets you trigger Shaddoll Beast, and it lets you just add spells to your hand, which is super important in this deck. And then the last cards are either Anima because you kind of need it, or they are specifically Ultimate Slayer cards. So just to go through them, we have Anima, pretty important to the deck. 1 Aggregator, perfect for getting rid of like Raziels and such. Malong, same thing for Synchro Monsters. And then Garuda, because when we get rid of fusion cards, usually the first thing we want to do is draw, because not a lot of decks care how their fusion summons get summoned and whatever. So it's pretty big. And then the side deck is pretty quick, so we'll just kind of shoot through it for the decks that I kind of intended them to go in against and such. So Lancia is pretty self-explanatory. We all kind of hate what Malice has been doing to the format. Drone Lockbird is super important because it genuinely helps just stop the game state and has won me games by itself. Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood, I haven't actually gotten to play against an opponent yet, but I have cited it in every time that I thought we were getting close to time, and usually it's pretty bad, because if you lose in time, With this deck, it always feels bad because you have to pay 500 for the My Friend, and the My Friend Purrely is genuinely what ends up losing you the duel sometimes. So being able to do this on my opponent's turn and gain life points is pretty important. So the last, or not the last, but some of the last are 2 Ultimate Slayer and Cosmic Cyclone. Some people have asked why I play the 1 Cosmic Cyclone, and it is just because I wanted some form of back removal that wasn't just randomly destroy cards in my opponent's field. So, and then 2 or 3 DDGs. Different Dimension Ground is pretty solid. I definitely think that I should have picked it up sooner. Being able to hit only monsters, not spells or traps, is super important for a lot of things. So, and yeah, that is it. That is the Purrely deck profile. If you guys liked it, please feel free to like and subscribe. If you guys want to get this nice playmat that I have here, or similar to it, you can save 5% off over at Dueling Guard using code TOF, and you can get this playmat for cheaper that way. Likewise, if you like really nice deck boxes, such as this one, feel free to head over to Gemtech down here in the down in the description. But also use code TeddyFurry10 in order to get 10% off your purchase. That can be a lot with really nice deck boxes like this. This is where I usually keep my Purrely stuff. And then, yeah, if you guys want to join the Discord and tell me how bad I am at the game, feel free to do so. Down there in the description, says it down there in the bottom right that it is available. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and God bless you. Peace.